Grand Rise in Israel, Shalom. Happy Sabbath. Doing this video, I don't know if many of you have known, because there's a few of us here, but I did a video this morning, yesterday, and I released it this morning, and they deleted it. So we're gonna work with that material been taken out. That material was a clip from the Black Panther, just showing you about the melanation and how they're using that melanation, extracting it as they depict how they use Negroes' bodies in the movie Get Out. And it's just letting you see that they're using it for weaponry, and they telling on themselves, you know, whatever they scientists have came up with or experimented with, that's pretty much is what's going on with our people, you know. Do we have proof of it? Very little. Just the fact that our people are missing and they're off with their SpaceX, building the Tower of Babel again, and put the pieces of the puzzle together. They're pretty much guilty of the crime. And the Most High gonna deal with them. As you know, the Most High knows all. He knows everything. So I'm pretty sure that's why the book of Obadiah was wrote, dedicated to them. They didn't know when to stop. Featured on the History Channel. I'm trying to get this to focus. Y'all gotta bear with me. My phone is. Let me see if I cut this off. If that'll help. Vibration. Sorry about that, y'all. You know I'm amateur. It says, meet Ham, the chimpanzee. Oh, that's light. Let me see if I can fix that. Meet Ham, the chimpanzee. In 1961, Ham became the first hominid to be launched into space. Do you know when Ham made his flight in space? Do you remember when Ham made his flight in space? And you have these Edomites gathered around this chimpanzee or monkey. Because see, at this time in 1961, we had no clue of our curses placed on us. And they thought we took in, which we have, you see proof of it now, the identity of the Hamite, the African. They sold us on that. So they were mocking us right there. This is how you mock. 1961. The Most High knows all. And they know a lot too. They made it a point to mock, disrespect all the children of Israel. They catfished us and used these Africans, who we are not, to have us take their identity in ignorance, and they took ours, the Edomites. If you read that there, that's from the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. It says, Ham, the youngest son of Noah. Noah had 3 sons, born probably 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons to go through the flood. He became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes, but the Egyptians, Ethiopians, Libyans, and Canaanites. When we were sold into slavery, the bill of sale said, Negroes for sale. They knew who we were. They used the no whiskers, Obama, the Hamite. to push forward their agenda and their plan and their programming of our people, to think that we just like him or he's just like us. But Esau's got it coming. The gig is up, Jack. The Most High knows all. Your crafty counsel has met its match, the Most High. I was showing y'all how in the movie Achilles, I'm doing this in 2 parts, so if I'm going over things twice, bear with me. Like I said, I'm trying not to miss anything. They deleted the other video, so this is what I'm doing. This is Brad Pitt right there in the corner. Let me see if I can blow that up. It's Brad Pitt. He's playing Achilles in the movie. Achilles was an Israelite. This is a woman in the movie, Troy. And they captured her. And if you listen to them conversate about the gods, it's very interesting to tell you and show you that they know just who we are and who they praise, other gods. Notice her garments. She's in fringes with borders of blue. All these movies, 300, all of them, they're about Israelites. The Moors, at this time period in life, we were already scattered to all 4 corners. We were in many kingdoms. The Moors were Israelites who took in another god, Allah, and started claiming Islam. As you can see, Hollywood ran by, we know who, the Ish people, used this programming and their monopoly of the media to portray all these great tales and stories, true stories, and replace them with non-melanated people. So when the narrative gets out here in the world, who the Jews are, which they don't fit none of the prophecies, you have this. But the gig is up. Like I said, I'm doing these videos for us that's already woke now. This isn't to reach out to those that are lost. If they come across the material that is what it is, and you know, all power to the Most High that He's working with them in their spirit. But we got a lot of people in here, this world, that know of the truth, but still want to work with Babylon because they still don't have the patience or the spirit to understand. And yet, this is a cousin of mine, a meme she put up pertaining to the election that's coming up with Kamala Harris as the vice president. Don't be so woke that don't be so woke that tearing down a black woman is more important to you than re-electing a racist idiot. And that brings me to something I saw. Charlemagne the God, I don't even like to call him that, had a conversation on his show with Snoop, and they were laughing and talking about how good the show was, the battle with him and DMX, some virtual battle they had. He's like, yeah, man, even the people in the background, the woke people, man, they were bobbing their head as if we can't have a good time, or as if this is some kind of religion, or we under some kind of you know, isolation of reality around us. We can still laugh at situations and life as it goes on, but we won't partake or participate in any foolery or you know, or straying from the path of what we need to be doing, keeping our Sabbaths, the laws, to the best of our ability. That's another form of mocking. You know, when they recognize that there's a woke community, not a conscious community, Pan-African or conscious Kemetic people, they following a religion or belief, ideology of another God or other power outside of the Most High. This is something that came up on my timeline. Just so happened to happen. It says Mexico finally recognized its black citizens. It only took 400 years.
People of African descent go back hundreds of years in Mexico, but as a group, Afro-Mexicans are largely invisible. A 2015 census is changing that. CCTV's Frank Contreras has insight from Mexico's southern state of Oaxaca.
Among Afro-Mexican communities here on the Pacific coast of Mexico's Oaxaca state, this dance is symbolic. Locals say the devils represent the growing power of African descendants in this part of Latin America. It's a history that's beginning to gain global attention. The presence of Africa here in Oaxaca state is one of the lesser-known aspects of the vast cultural diversity in this region, one of the most culturally diverse in all of Latin America. Last year, for the first time, the government conducted an interim census asking Mexicans, based on your culture, history, and traditions, do you consider yourself black, meaning Afro-Mexican or Afro-descendant? And nearly 1.4 million people responded, yes. Afro-Mexican communities exist here in Oaxaca state's Costa Chica region, the neighboring state of Guerrero, and Veracruz state, among others. An Afro-Mexican leader from Pinotepa Nacional says, as a nation, Mexico is much more than just a mixture of Spanish and indigenous people.
We believe that the whole world should know that in the colonial era, Mexico was an entry point for African slaves. Our ancestors were forcibly brought here under slavery.
But images of African descendants in Mexico rarely appear in public. The exception is this famous comic book character, Memín Penguin, which was created in the 1940s. Nicomedes Ramirez and her cousin, Castula Silva, grew up in these impoverished coastal communities. Ramirez says over the years, politicians have come with their election year promises to end poverty.
They told us they would help, and they would bring us basic things we were lacking. All we had to do was ask, but so far, they have done nothing for us.
I never went to school because when I was a girl, there was no school here. We had to go to another community, and my parents, may they rest in peace, told me I could not go, so I never studied.
Afro-Mexican communities are almost completely separated from the rest of Mexico, and very few outsiders ever come here for a first-hand look at their most well-known traditions, like this dance known as a chilena, or this one depicting a charging bull. Mexico's national constitution is the only one in Latin America that does not specifically mention the existence of citizens of African descent. Afro-Mexican authorities say they're planning to take legal action and change the constitution so that it includes them.
By having no presence in the Mexican Constitution, there is no public policy that protects our rights and necessities. We, as Afro-Mexicans, like many indigenous Mexicans, live in regions of extreme marginalization.
Constitutional recognition would finally give them access to medical services, educational grants, and social security benefits. For now, Afro-Mexicans, whose descendants came from places like Kenya, Congo, and later the Caribbean, still do not enjoy these basic rights. Frank Contreras, CCTV, on the Costa Chica in Mexico's southern state of Oaxaca.
They're doing so much to rid us of our identity and giving us new identities and creations of theirs which to engage in, like the gay pride. I was telling a friend of mine for the first time, they hearing in their 30s, about why the rainbow was created as their identity, their marker. And it was mind-blowing to that person, not knowing that the rainbow was created by the Most High, a covenant he had with Noah after the flood. It was so devastating that Noah cried out to the Most High after it was over, the experience on the ark. And the Most High told him, for that reason that you feared so much, I'll make a promise to you. And the gay community took the flag as a way of mocking God. Nah, 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 nah. You won't destroy the earth again with water or with a flood. Not realizing that he got fire and brimstone. So in ignorance, our people, taken into that lifestyle, don't see all the evil that they're engaging in mocking God. And that scripture is Genesis 9 and 13 and 17. And it reads, I'm going to read it twice. Genesis flood narrative. After creating a flood to wash away humanity's corruption, God put the rainbow in the sky as a sign of promise that he would never again destroy the earth with a flood. And that scripture reads, I establish my covenant with you. Never again will all life be cut off by the water of a flood. Never again will there be a flood to destroy the earth. Whenever the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will see and remember the everlasting covenant between God and all living creatures of every kind on the earth. But understand, he got other powers. So it's going to be many that learn the hard way, following the heathen as we was commanded not to do. They got many failures for us to go with them. Everything they do is for us. They must rid us and our God to keep this world the way it is, because they know for Jacob is the beginning of the world, for Esau is the end. This is SpaceX and Trump.
It's true. And in that spirit, today we begin a new era of human space exploration. And the credit goes to dedicated men and women all across this country, to the ingenuity and the hard work of the entire NASA team. America is proud of the men and women of NASA. But for the first time in our history, our astronauts have taken to the skies on a commercial rocket built by America's private sector. So join me in a vigorous round of applause for Elon Musk and the dedicated men and women of SpaceX. Job well done. Well deserved. Thanks, Elon. And of course, none of this would have been possible without the personal courage and the unflinching skill of 2 American astronauts. One of them is an active duty colonel in the Air Force. He, like his crewmate, was accepted in the NASA Astronaut Corps in 2000. He served on several shuttle missions. The other was the first Marine pilot to fly the Super Hornet. He's logged hours in more than 25 aircraft. In fact, his second flight was the very last mission of the space shuttle from American soil in 2011. So would you join me in giving a vigorous round of applause to Commander Bob Behnken and Commander Doug Hurley. We are proud of our American astronauts. Because of their courage and your hard work, America is leading in space again. Today is the culmination of 3.5 years of renewed leadership in space. It's a tribute to our astronauts. It's a tribute to the ingenuity of the men and women of SpaceX and NASA. But I'm here to tell you it's also a tribute to the vision and leadership of a president who from the very first days of this administration was determined to revive NASA and American leadership in human space exploration. Today is a tribute to the leadership of President Donald Trump. As the president said in his inaugural address, we stand at the birth of a new millennium, ready to unlock the mysteries of space. And that's exactly what we're doing. The president revived the National Space Council after it lay dormant for 25 years. He brought together the best minds in and out of government to revive the American space enterprise. We reformed the National Space Traffic Management System. We streamlined regulations for the commercial use of space. And in 2017, President Trump made it the policy of the United States to return to the moon by 2024 and ensure that the next man and the first woman to set foot on the moon would be American astronauts. And we're on our way. And at the president's direction, we won't just go back to the moon. Mission Artemis is going to take us to the moon, and then America will take the next giant leap. And we're going to land American astronauts on Mars. So we're leading again. For our prosperity, for our explorer's spirit, but we're also leading for the security of the American people. As nations around the world increase their investment in space, this president also took the decisive step to ensure that America remains as dominant in space as we are in land and air and sea, when he created the first new branch of our armed forces in more than 70 years, the United States Space Force. So the American people can be confident, after today's history-making launch, that we're just getting started. And under this president's leadership, with the courage of our astronauts, the ingenuity of NASA and private partners like SpaceX, the support of the American people, and God's grace, we'll never stop pushing to reach new heights, to go farther and faster and higher than ever before. We will inspire the world as America leads humanity into the vast expanse of space for generations to come. And now it's my high honor and distinct privilege to introduce to you the man whose vision and relentless leadership brought us to this historic day, the 45th President of the United States of America, President Donald Trump. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee.
That's enough of that. So I'm letting you understand that this is all about us. His people, our God. Them removing his people and him and replacing them with them. Which ain't gonna happen because he knows everything. So, pay attention.
What the Most High is doing, he's displaying his power. Everything he's showing. Like I said, my cousin did a Facebook post, and I'm just touched because I know it's the spirit of the Most High, and he's allowing us to all interact and get the stuff. Either you're gonna get it or you're not. What I'm saying is sharing with you. If you don't get it, if it don't make no sense to you, if you don't think it's two types of white folks, that's okay. It don't matter. At the end of the day, you need to know who you are. You need to know why you're in this position. You need to know about the curses and punishments and God's power. Church and religion, Sunday worship is not going to get it. Come back to the laws and commandments and statutes given to us and see if this world don't get moved out of your way. And I want to show y'all something else. This is speaking of one of the sons of Jacob. Are European Jews really Gentiles whose ancestors converted to Judaism? The facts are clear now that most of those who call themselves Jews are not descendants of Jacob, whose name was later changed to Israel, and therefore have no claim to the land of Palestine. The October 29, 1996 New York Times, in an article entitled "Scholars Debate Origins of Yiddish and the Migrations of Jews," states, the Eastern European Jews were not really Semitic, that they were largely descended from the Turkish Khazars, who converted to Judaism in medieval times. Therefore, modern Jews have no blood link to the biblical Israelites. Jewish historians have established that at least 90% of all Jews come from a Turkish mix of people and are largely sourced from the Khazar kingdom. The Jewish scholar Arthur Kolster provided overwhelming evidence in his book titled The 13th Tribe, showing that in the 8th century, Khazaria, which was greatly made up of the Turkish mixed people known as Khazars, converted to their national religion of Judaism, which was based on the Babylonian Talmud. He states in his book that the Khazar Empire, which in the Dark Ages became converted to Judaism, Khazaria was finally destroyed by Genghis Khan and his Mongol hordes, but evidence indicates that the Khazar...
In the Dark Ages is when they converted our blood right out of the Bible, which is an owner's manual, into a religion.
themselves migrated to Poland and formed a Western Jewish community. They eventually migrated to other places like Germany and Russia.
Germany and Russia. If you remember that video interview with Vlad TV about Nick Cannon, he said he was from Russia and Germany, a Jewish descendant. He's the seed of these thieves. He's inherited lies.
Christian churches in the general public have been deceived. Many Jewish historians are now admitting that they are not the true Hebrews of the Bible. And how can they be returning to the land of Israel when they were never there to begin with? The goal of creating a homeland for Jews seemed like a noble pursuit in 1897 when the Zionist movement became officially established. However, their dream of returning to Palestine has become a nightmare of violence, and there is no end in sight.
There's no end in sight. That's why they've been over there fighting ever since they went over there, because the Most High ain't going to let them just live in peace. That is not their land, and that is not their identity. Everything that's going on has to do with us and our God. People can deny all they want, what they're seeing, what they're witnessing, and primarily don't want to believe it because of who we are. They refuse to acknowledge that there's some kind of God-given entitlement to us. A lot of us are going to fall to the wayside as heathens, you know, not heathen by blood, but by action and choices. I've redid that video. Oh, that's what I needed to get for y'all to hear this. Let you know it's all about us, the Melenation, and our God. Let me do this one more time. Get the puzzle together. Pay attention.
Else. Here's something else that's going to blow your mind. Look at this one. The U.S. government plans to use melanin, that's right, you see right, melanin for military applications, armor, weapons, and energy storage. Y'all hear that? Energy storage. Now I'm going to leave the link to this article so you don't think I'm just making this stuff up. And I checked several sources, and this is facts. It kind of blew my mind because why would they need melanin for weapons and energy source? And energy storage? Are you kidding me? Can you make the connection? Do you think it's coincidence that many of our people are dying at the hands of our enemy? Why are they so focused on killing us? Well, for our organs, just about everything, and especially the melanin. Why? Because the melanin that we have is such a powerful source that even scientists don't fully understand it. Now check this out. The United States government is fully aware of the extraordinary benefits and potential of melanin. That's why they want to use it for military application. Now, brothers and sisters, you got to stop and ask yourself the question, what is really going on here? Because we can't afford to be naive like many of our people are. And see, when we address stuff like this, the rest of society will cast us off as being crazy. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You know, that's just theories. And y'all don't know what you're talking about. The people who are dying in Chicago, they just died because of black-on-black violence. That's all that is. Yeah, that's what the media tells you. That's what they show in the Hollywood movies. Any game-related movie you watch of us, it's always showing us killing one another. But that's not the reality of it. Yeah, we have black-on-black crime, but it's not like what they're portraying of us. So whenever you see the headlines of mass shootings in Chicago of our people, just know, Zion, that it is more than just what you see. There are evil forces that are at hand who are purposely killing our people for this very reason. To get our organs, to get our melanin, to use it for their wicked agendas. Now look at this. The U.S. Army would evolve overnight if their current technologies were replaced with melanin-based technologies. Now some people may say, well brother, that's absurd. How can you say that there's hired agents out killing black folks just because they want their melanin? Don't you know that scientists can create melanin without the use of organs? No, Zion, you need to go rethink that. You need to go redo your research on that. Because melanin can only come from one source. And who are the majority of the people who produces melanin? And we're definitely not talking about plants and trees. So you really got to think what's really going on here. So I want to hear your thoughts on this. I want to see what your take on this is. Because you know as well as I do that our people are just not dying by some random gang members that are going out just mass shooting up people. It's not happening.
And this is like you say, like I say, put all the pieces of the puzzle together, you know. Area 51, 54, whatever they call it out there in Nevada, Phoenix, or Arizona, wherever in the desert. We got over 10,000, tens of thousands of black women missing. We're being preyed upon, and everybody of us that's in this world not waking are so comfortable knowing that, not knowing that they got two enemies against them. The Most High didn't release the dogs on us with Deuteronomy. Yeah, the heathens are up next with Obadiah. So if you don't get caught out here in this world by their evil, the Most High punishment is going to be released on you. So I wanted to get that. And that's what we're looking like, Israel. Not good for those who still denying who they are. Like I said, it's the Sabbath. I had to resort. Like I said, I want to apologize for that mix-up on the dietary information. Evidently that information got the duck and the turkey mixed up, which, as I was reading it off, I somewhat thought, but I'm not going to question somebody's information if it's supposed to be for our well-being. I was assuming that it came from a reputable source, but yet I questioned the web feed. So I stopped and got me a couple of gyros for this Sabbath. I'm going lamb. Hey, Arby's it is. Still got about 2 hours before my son drop here, so what I usually do on my Sabbath, I ran out of drive time already. I'm gonna clean my truck, take my carpets out, shake them out, wipe down my interior with wipes, give me a shower, and enjoy some entertainment, viewing stuff that's related to us. I do got a second part to this that I'm uploading after this one. I actually did that one, how can I say it? I'm redoing the first part, and I did the second one, so I had to go back and do the first one over. So that's why I got some material that I'm sharing or saying that you're going to hear on the next one. But nevertheless, let me double check and make sure I'm not leaving anything out on this edited version. Yeah, that pretty much should be it. With that, I'm going to say, enjoy the next piece, and it's a wrap. All praise to the Most High, God of Israel.